These are the patterns for the macrame or hemp sample for styles A, B, and C. We're going to start off with style A. Style A, you'll want to tape down the two short strings right in the middle, and you'll tape them together. When you put your stick down, if you hold it right in front of you like this, and then just lay it directly down, that's about a good distance away for where you want it to be when you're working. So I'm going to take a piece of tape. I'll take the two middle strings, the two short strings, figure out which ones those are, and tape them down to the table. Go ahead and tape those together. For style A, the pattern is 4P, 4P. You can also say left and right, but people usually get confused. This is one they understand. For 4, this is the pattern, and this is P right here. I'm going to zoom in so you can see it a little bit better. So the first thing we're going to do is a 4. So I'm going to take the left string and I'm going to actually make a 4. And I'm going to take my left hand and put my finger right over the middle so it holds the string there, and I'll bring the tail on over out to the side. The next part is I'll take the right string, put it over that other tail, and I'm going to go ahead and bring that whole thing down beside me. So this is on top. And the next move, the right string needs to go underneath all of these and up through this loop. So I like to pinch it, pull it up, bring that underneath. You can tell if it's correct, it'll tie a knot around those middle strings. Pull that tight and then push it up. You can tell that you just did this side. This string looks like it's coming up, and this string is down underneath because we pulled that through. We just did a 4, we're ready for the P. So it will be the reverse. So I take the right string, make a loop, it'll look like a P, take my right finger and put it right over all of those strings. Take the left string and put it over the tail and go ahead and pull that all the way down. And I take this string underneath everything here, up through this loop. Pull that all the way through. And I did it correctly because it tied a knot around the center. I'll do a few more of these just so you can see. I'll walk you through it one more time. So for the left, I'm making a 4. Put my finger over where they all intersect. The right string over top, pull that down. Right string goes underneath everything and through the loop. And then pull this down tight. Pull this up tight, and what I'll be looking for is that the knots are tight and pushed up together. And then for the P, put my finger over where they crisscross, bring this over top. I pinch all those strings, bring them up, and pull it through. One way you can tell if you're doing it right, if you turn this to the side, you'll see how they kind of go every other. If you get too many in a row, it'll end up in a diagonal. So I'll do one wrong on purpose so you can see it. So I just did a P. I'm going to do another one so you can see what a mistake looks like. I'll do a couple of those. And I'll do another one just to help emphasize. Okay, so if it starts to look like that, that means you did too many in a row. It's going in a diagonal. You can check the other side too. So I can tell that I need to back up 2 more spaces. Okay, so that's how you do A, and you'll go all the way down until you're out of string. Style B. Style B, you'll have 4 strings. These get taped down individually. So for the pattern for B, it's right here. It'll be 4P, 4P, and then switch. I'm going to have all 4 strings laid out this way. To start, I'm going to have number 1 taped to the side. Get some more tape. Number 1's taped to the side. Number 2 will be free, and number 3 will be my middle. Okay. So what I'm going to do is do 4P, 4P using 2 and 4. 1 and 3 are taped down. 3 is my middle, and 1 is out of the way. So you'll either have 1 and 3 taped down or 2 and 4. So 2 and 4 are loose right now. So I'm going to do 4P, 4P, and then stop. So I'm going to do a 4. This is exactly the same as A, except there's only 1 string in the middle now. P. Make sure that's tight. And do another 4. And then another P, and then I stop. Okay. And now I'm going to switch. I'll explain this part in a second, because if you're just starting, there won't be anything to look at. So right now, 1 and 3 are taped down. So now I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to do 2 and 4. So you're going to mirror this. So number 4 will get taped out of the way. And number 2 will become my center. So we're just switching over. So that's why it's 4P, 4P, and then you switch. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you can see that better. So I'll still do the same thing. I'm going to do a 4. And I'll bring the tail over, pull everything through. But when I go to pull this tight, I want to make sure to have this string snug. This one, there will be a little bit of a gap. Because we didn't include it, it's the natural place where a loop will come in. So B is the one that looks like this, and that's how we get that loop, is because that string was not in the pattern, but now that we pull it back in, there's going to be a little loop there. Okay, so I did a 4. Now I'm going to do a P, and this will finish the knot. So make sure you have everything tight and where you want it before you pull this really tight. So the loop looks good. I have this piece snug. Go ahead and pull that tight. And then I do another 4 and a P. Okay, those are pushed up together. This is pulled tight. So I'm going to switch my strings again. So right now, 2 and 4 are taped down. I'm going to do 1 and 3. So 1 gets taped out of the way. And 3 becomes my center. I will do 1 more. So I'm going to do a 4. And bring this one over. So remember, when I bring that in, that's what makes the loop. So I want this bottom string snug, so I'll pull that up, and there'll be a little loop right here. That was the 4. Now the P will finish the knot that's going to hold that loop in place. If you pull it a little tight, you'll see me kind of fix this after I get past this point. I'll do 1 more 4P before I switch. Okay, and I'm ready to switch, and this is a point when I can kind of pull on the loop a little bit, make sure that's up out as far as it'll go. Okay, and that'll give me the pattern, and I'm ready to switch over, and that's how you do B. And now I show you C. C, if you look at the pattern, is only 4. This will be the easiest one. Everybody likes this one. For C, you're going to use the same strings as style A, so you tape down the two shortest strings. So I'm going to find my middle, are the short strings. I'll tape that down. When I go to do this, I'm going to take one of the strings. It doesn't matter which one of the long ones, either one. I'm going to put a little knot in the end. This way, I can tell which string is which, and I'll show you why in just a moment. So I'm ready to do 4s. This pattern is only 4. And it'll start to twist, which is what we were avoiding in style A, but style B, we want the twist to happen. So usually in about 5 or 6 knots, you'll see that it's starting to twist. So I'm doing just 4s. You need tape. Okay, so I'm doing the 4, put my finger over the top, bringing the string over, pinching those and pulling them up to pull that through. Keep on doing 4s. So after about 4, 5, or 6 knots, you'll see that it's starting to spin and your knot's going to be like clear over here. The reason I marked the one string is so that we can flip this around. Okay, so I'll do a couple more. It's starting to get to that point. Sometimes you get that stuck. Okay, I'm pulling the knots tight and I'm pushing them up together because we don't want a gap. So it's starting to spin and you'll eventually need to help it turn. We want to make sure you flip your strings a full 160 degrees. So I marked my one string. I need to take note that right now it's on the left-hand side. So I'm going to flip these over so this ends up on the left-hand side again. So I'm going to flip this whole thing over here. Right now it's on the right, so I'm going to flip it again. So it's on the left. And then I just keep on going. So it's on the left, I'm ready to go. So I have the 4. Okay? That's all you need to know with style number 4, is you just keep on going. When you're done with any of the patterns, this is how we're going to finish it off. Pretend this is done. Your actual length will be closer to something like that. It might not be an actual bracelet. I think with style B, most of you will have enough to have a full bracelet, so maybe go ahead and finish it till you get to that point. If you're not sure, you can always take it up and measure it on your wrist to see if you have enough and make sure you have enough string on there. But what we're going to do is pretend I'm done. I want you to take the knots in your hand, and the same way that we tied the very beginning is you're going to go around, take your middle finger out, flip those strings through, and make sure the knot is all the way up by your work. Like that. You might even have to tuck some of the short ones in there to begin with. We're going to talk about how to start the strings too. So you need to find the center of your strings. I'll put this down so you can see a little bit better. You'll have 2 strings, and these will be the centers of both of them. You need to find the middle. So the way you find the middle of your strings is you run your hands all the way out to the edge, put the tails together, slide your hand down so you have a loop. You'll do the same thing again with the other string. Once you find both loops, put those together. You're going to take them in your hand. So if you have your first and middle finger here with your thumb, and you'll take your other hand and pull that up so you have a space. Bring them around the front and hold that with your thumb. You'll take your middle finger out, and you'll take this loop and you're going to flip it around the front and pull that through. But before you pull it tight, you're going to take a pencil or your dowel rod. I have one right here. I'm going to put that through because we don't want this loop to be really big. So if you have a lot of space right here, you're going to kind of push the knot up that way. And you have to work with it So you can get it right up against there. And I'll show you why when we get to your final project for the hemp and when we add beads.